Hi, welcome to Gene Rants. I'm Gene, and today I'll be turning the floor over again, just like I did in the last vlog, but to somebody different, to somebody who, well, I won't call it a rant, but, well, she's a little angry, but really, really great. I am talking about a press conference. Well, this is Friday, so it was yesterday, Thursday, press conference with Tulsi Gabbard and Caroline Leavitt, the usual press conference, except that Tulsi Gabbard was there and showing and discussing documents showing that, well, it's interesting to watch how desperately the Democrats are trying to, and the media, which we will get to, or actually which Caroline will really, really get to in a few moments, how they're trying to bury this and distract people from what happened, which is what apparently happened. There's going to be an investigation, of course, so I don't want to get ahead of it. There will be official results. Just like, well, unlike the press, as Caroline Leavitt will point out, who got ahead of Robert Mueller when there was this 2-year, $40 million special counsel investigation of Donald Trump for supposedly, well, accusations of colluding with Russia to give Trump the election, which we now know is totally false, which anybody could have figured out was totally false at the time, which the press knew, and the government, and Barack Obama, and the CIA, and the FBI, everybody knew was totally false, but they went with it anyhow. And not only did the press go with it, actually a number of reporters, they got Pulitzer Prizes for this reporting of well, I should put that in quotes, so-called reporting of a conspiracy or that was totally false, and they still have their prizes, the Pulitzer Prize. Well, I have to put this aside in here, as I often do, but this goes all the way back to a Robert Durante. He was a New York Times reporter. This is all the way back to the 30s. He visited the Soviet Union, and he reported how great communism was, how well it was working in the Soviet Union, and how happy and prosperous the people were under Stalin. And he got a Pulitzer Prize for that. As we all know, that was, well, I mean, false on steroids. But he got a Pulitzer Prize, and the Pulitzer Prize committee never rescinded the prize, never took it back. So this is what's happened with Russian collusion hoax. Russia is no surprise. They've not changed at all, the Pulitzer Prize committee. Well, I mean, it'll be interesting to see. It's interesting that this has happened twice with left-wing reporters reporting things that hurt Republicans. I haven't heard of anything like this happening with, well, when was the last time did somebody reporting something that hurt well, the hiding of Joe Biden's dementia, or this story now of how the press was complicit in this hoax, how the whole thing was totally false. Trump did not collude with Russia. Will the reporters who reported the actual truth, will they get Pulitzer Prizes? So a lot of reasons to be disgusted with the press and Caroline Leavitt. But I have to say a few words about Caroline Leavitt before we get to you hearing her and watching her speak, because, well, you know, I've been around a while, so I've been through a few presidencies, a few press conferences, and I thought, well, if I had to go back, the last Democratic administration, the Bill Clinton administration, Mike McCurry, if anybody remembers him, he was a very good press secretary. His briefings were very good, even though he was on the other side. I'm a conservative, and he was, you know, representing Bill Clinton, but he was very good at what he did. And then you go all the way up to, I thought that Kayleigh McEnany was the best, was really, I just thought she was superb. And then you have Karine Jean-Pierre, who was probably easily the worst White House press secretary. I mean, total inability to think on her feet, absolutely no knowledge of facts or any. Just about every question she had to refer to a binder to. With text, and she would just read the text of what they say now, of what to say. Unlike now, Kaylee McEnany, she had sometimes, well, she would have a binder, but that just had facts in it, that she would say something and then she would look up and cite a source and give the facts from the binder, but it wasn't telling her what to say word for word, and it was like a reference to refer to. But now you get to Caroline Leavitt, and she's even better. Absolutely, in my mind, the best press secretary in my lifetime that I have seen. Now, I have to, I mean, my adult lifetime or my voting lifetime. I don't know who, I can't even tell you who Eisenhower's press secretary was. But she is very, very good. And what's even more amazing about her is that she is only 27 years old. But there is this, Tulsi Gabbard was a guest, speaker at this press conference, and the press, well, their narrative is this. I just saw a long article about this, supposedly debunked what Tulsi Gabbard was showing in these actual documents, and they always say, well, there was. This committee, there was a House committee or a Senate committee and investigating and said, yes, Russia did try to interfere in the election, which they've done that in the past. But what they actually did was just fake Facebook posts, and they did it to just make us question the integrity of our election. Very clearly said at the time that did not find any evidence of Russia trying to elect one candidate over the other. And in fact, they were, as came out in some of these documents, which are on the internet, you can see them. That's the whole thing, that Tulsi Gabbard is posting these documents so you can read them for yourself. And there is a document that there was actually, Russia had very damaging information. They had hacked or something. They had very damaging information about Hillary Clinton, about her health, that the Democrats, either the National Committee or her campaign or someone, was worried about her health, and she was on tranquilizers the whole time, damaging information. And we'll just assume that it may or may not be true. It doesn't matter. It would be just like the Russia collusion hoax was totally unclear, but we all saw how it damaged Trump's presidency, how it hobbled him for at least the first 2 years until the Mueller report came out. And so even to release something like that would have, before the election, really would have hurt Hillary Clinton's chances of being elected. Yeah, especially since we know she lost anyway. So imagine putting this on top of it. So the obvious question is, why didn't the Russians release it? And this is what the intelligence community found. They were holding on to it to wait till after the election. All right. The idea was that they expected her to win. She would win, and then between her being announced as the winner and in November and then taking office at the end of January, then they would release it to damage her presidency, just as the Democrats tried to damage, well, successfully damaged Trump's presidency. Same idea. So anyways, so what you had at this press conference, we're getting to the actual press conference now. I hope, be patient, but we're now getting to the press conference where a reporter, I believe it was CBS, the reporter, same thing, tried to brush this whole hoax thing under the question, the actual documents, to try to just, to defend Barack Obama, James Clapper, James Comey, and John Brennan, all the rest of them, and Kaylee McEnany had enough. So this video you're going to see, it starts with Tulsi Gabbard for a minute, not even a minute, I mean a few seconds, because the question is to, it was actually two questions, one to Tulsi Gabbard, and then one to Caroline Leavitt. So Tulsi answers first very briefly, and then turns the floor over to Leavitt to answer the second question, but she decides, she said, oh, well, I'll answer both of them. And then she just really, just watch.
Just on this, Director Gabbard, you referenced the past intelligence reports and assessments on this, including that 2017 one that was signed off, as Ed noted, by every Republican on the Senate Intelligence Community, including the acting chair of the time, now Secretary of State Marco Rubio, who said in a statement that they did not find any evidence of Russian collusion, but they did find, however, is very troubling, and they found irrefutable evidence of Russian meddling. One, are you saying that he's wrong in that statement that he made then? And secondly, what would you say to people who believe that you're only releasing these documents now to improve your standing with the president after he said that your intelligence assessments were wrong?
Well, first, I want to correct something that you stated, which was citing the Senate Intelligence Committee's report as being one and the same. I think you said the intelligence community. The Senate Intelligence Committee has a very different function than the Office of the Director of National Intelligence. The evidence and the intelligence that has been declassified and released is irrefutable. I'm going to let Caroline speak to Secretary Rubio.
I'll speak to both questions. First, on Secretary Rubio, he put out a statement in 2020 following that Senate Intelligence Committee report, and he said what they found is troubling. We found irrefutable evidence of Russian meddling, which the Director of National Intelligence just confirmed for all of you, that Russia was trying to sow distrust and chaos. But what's the outrage in this that Secretary Rubio did not say at the time, the Democrats were saying at the time, is the fact that the intelligence community was concocting this narrative that the president colluded with the Russians, that the president's son was holding secret meetings with the Russians, all of these lies that were never true. And he also said at that time, we discovered deeply troubling actions taken by the FBI under Comey, particularly their acceptance and willingness to rely on the Steele dossier without verifying its methodology or sourcing. The Steele dossier that many outlets in this room ran as the gospel truth, and it was cooked up and paid for by the Clinton campaign. As for your second question, Caitlin, I think, who is saying that she would release this to try to boost her standing with the president? Who has said that?
Well, the president has publicly undermined her when it came to Iran. He said she was wrong. He told me that she didn't know what she was talking about. That was on Air Force One on camera.
The only people who are suggesting that the Director of National Intelligence would release evidence to try to boost her standing with the president are the people in this room who constantly try to sow distrust and chaos amongst the president's cabinet, and it is not working. I will just answer your question directly. I am with the President of the United States every day. He has the utmost confidence in Director Gabbard. He always has. He continues to, and that is true of his entire cabinet, who is all working as one team to deliver on the promises this president made.
I don't know about you, and well, I know the liberals, the leftists, people who visit the site, they probably did not enjoy what you just saw, what they just saw, but I enjoyed it a heck of a lot. I don't know about you, but I thought that was just wonderful what she did, and she does it all the time. She is the best press conference. I advise you just watch. Well, I was going to say watch that press conference. Watch anyone. How much command Caroline Leavitt has of the facts. You can ask her any question, and bang, she's got the answer right there, and a detailed answer, no evasions, detailed answers, and very knowledgeable, complete answers. As I've said before, and I'll just say it again, she just impresses me so much. I am so. When Trump leaves office, I assume she will not be the press conference in the next administration, whoever, even if it's a Republican. That's the way these things usually go. She will. Well, I would anticipate a really great book deal, which she will deserve much more than George Stephanopoulos deserved for his book deal. Hopefully she'll get more, but she's got a great, only 27, so she would be 3 years, right? She'll be just 30 years old. She's got a great career ahead of her, and I hope we'll see and hear more from her. But I guess you've seen and heard, well, I hope you'll see more and want to see and hear more of me. I think you've seen and heard enough of me for today. Now I'd love to, well, I can't see you, but I'd love to hear from you. Well, yeah, I don't know. Your little avatar, your comments are welcome. And if you want to put your avatar of an actual photo, I can see you, and I can't hear you, but I can read your comments. So those are always welcome. Agree with me or disagree with me. Share this video with anyone you think would benefit from it. Definitely, if you could subscribe, I would really, really appreciate that. But most of all, come back and see me again. I would love to see all of you again. And until I do see all of you again, bye.